In 2021, Hakainde Hichilema secured Zambia's presidency on a dual platform. He campaigned on a strict anti-corruption mandate and a promise to aggressively decentralize the country's wealth. To accomplish this, his administration turned to the Constituency Development Fund, or CDF. The strategy was to bypass the slow bureaucracy of the central government and put capital directly into the hands of local communities. Before Hichilema took office, a single constituency received 1.6 million Kenya a year. Under his new budget, that allocation jumped to 40 million Kenya. Multiplied across Zambia's 156 local districts, the national aggregate hit 6.245 billion Kenya, transferred straight to the local level. The government set a strict target for this money, a minimum 85% utilization rate by 2026. These funds are earmarked for hard infrastructure requested by citizens, like new clinics, bridges, and schools. Hichilema has tied his administration's success to this rapid wealth transfer, betting that local results will outpace the systemic corruption that often follows unmonitored capital. Injecting a sudden, massive volume of capital into underdeveloped local administrative systems requires highly functional infrastructure. You need strong institutional plumbing to handle the pressure. If independent watchdogs and strict enforcement mechanisms are missing, that decentralized capital becomes highly vulnerable to severe leaks and local political capture. 3 years into this administration, cracks are beginning to show. A serious gap has emerged between the polished public relations blueprint coming out of the capital and the hard institutional reality on the ground. To determine whether this decentralization effort is actually working, we have to ignore the political rhetoric and look directly at the audit ledgers. Take the Mwandi Constituency in Western Province. It serves as a perfect local microcosm for the national debate surrounding the CDF. On one side, political opposition figures claim the fund is completely failing the district. They point to severe developmental stagnation, citing accounts of women still forced to give birth in ox carts due to a lack of facilities. The ruling party pushes back with a very different list of outcomes. They cite specific, tangible outputs financed by the CDF in Mwandi, including a new maternity annex and the construction of nearly 100 new classrooms. The political friction here is intense. Opposing candidates allege high-level bribery aimed at forcing them to withdraw from local races, while government supporters dismiss these claims as deliberate misinterpretations of legitimate constitutional appointments. Listening to campaign spokespeople trade accusations gets us nowhere. Hard institutional data is the only reliable metric for verifying where the money is actually going. That data exists in the 2023 Auditor General's report. It serves as the definitive, nonpartisan baseline for the state of the Constituency Development Fund. This report is a comprehensive financial evaluation, scanning the compliance of local authorities managing the fund across all 156 constituencies. The results are devastating. The audit reveals critical weaknesses occurring almost universally across the map. The report specifically points to a general non-enforcement of CDF guidelines. This means the local oversight mechanisms meant to protect the money have essentially collapsed. When local councils fail to enforce the basic rules of procurement and accountability, they actively undermine the government's entire socioeconomic objective for that 6.245 billion fund. But the problem isn't confined to local rural councils. The breakdown in accountability extends straight to the highest echelons of national governance and executive oversight. Data from the Financial Intelligence Center, the agency tracking money laundering, shows that illicit financial flows and corruption actually increased over the course of 2023. In response to mounting institutional pressure, President Hichilema made a highly controversial move. He abruptly dissolved the entire board of the country's Anti-Corruption Commission. The dissolution followed credible allegations from whistleblowers within the commission itself. They claimed that top administration officials, including the Solicitor General, were being actively shielded from advanced bribery investigations. The failures detailed in the Auditor General's report begin to make sense in this context. Widespread local mismanagement thrives because anti-graft watchdogs are being systematically suppressed from the top down. Modern Zambia currently exists in two contradictory realities. The first is the blueprint. In this reality, massive CDF allocations successfully empower citizens, resulting in responsive, decentralized community growth. The second reality is the audit. Here we see a landscape of democratic backsliding, rising illicit cash flows, and paralyzed anti-corruption bodies. The administration is operating on a core economic fallacy. They assume a massive influx of decentralized cash can bypass a fractured governance system. Pumping billions of kwacha into local districts without enforcing strict, transparent oversight does not solve poverty. It amplifies existing networks of corruption. Ultimately, Zambia's future depends on the strength of the watchdogs guarding these funds. Real development is impossible if the institutions meant to protect the money are compromised.